Hello, my loves. So, we're about to have an eclipse in Pisces and Virgo. It's all about sacrifice, spiritually, and acts of service to fellow man. So, acts of service to God through spirituality, ritual, dedication, service to humanity through spirit. And Virgo is about acts of service, giving of your time and energy and attention. And the more I ruminated on this last night and this morning, I've had this group I was in as a kid on my mind because the whole thing was kind of strange. I was a Seventh-day Adventist growing up. And I was also in Pathfinders. Some of the people that are on my buddy lists have been with me since I've known them since I was between 4 and 6 years old. And y'all know all these stages. You've seen me grow up because you've grown up with me. And I think that's cool. I still have people in my life from back then. Anyway. I've been reading the Bible. I've been reading Luke. And so I'm going to bring out the Bible a little bit as well, just so you know. I lose followers every time I bring out the Bible. I don't give a fuck. Just like I don't give a fuck if you're turned off by my cards. You're either going to have to accept it all or do what you got to do and unfollow me. I don't care either way. Because I'm doing me, I'm doing the mission. Okay, so back to Pathfinders. We would meet every Tuesday in the evening time. It would switch around. I think there was a couple of Pathfinder meetings a week. Maybe it was that my mom only wanted to take me to one. But we always had functions. We had camporees. Whatever. But one of the things we got taught was drill. Like marching drills. And therefore, we were taught how to salute when we said this pledge. Which I'm about to say. So I have a nice tight salute. So we would put our hand on our heart. And then we would say, while we were saluting, by the grace of God, I will be pure and kind and true. I will be a servant to God and a friend to man. Which I've always thought was pretty damn beautiful. And I was very serious when I took that pledge. And then it goes on to the Pathfinder Law, which I'm going to actually have to pick my phone up for because I don't remember everything in sequence. And there's 8 little lines. So we would pretend I'm still saluting. The Pathfinder Law is for me to keep the morning watch, do my honest part, care for my body, keep a level eye, be courteous and obedient, walk softly in the sanctuary, keep a song in my heart, and go on God's errands. This is the Pisces Virgo axis. Not access, axis. Get it right. 2 entirely different things. But also access. Because I also got to download that, this particular story in Luke is part of this moon. The eye of the needle, right? Let's talk about that. course, I have it on the wrong chapter because I was cruising. People talk about this a lot. It happens in Luke chapter 18, verse 18. Those are 9s. Okay, I'm just going to read. It's kind of long. It's from 18 to 30 verses, so buckle up there, buttercup. So, and a certain ruler asked him, saying, Good master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus said unto him, Why callest thou me good? None is good, save one, that is God. Which, do you hear? That's red letter edition. Do you hear the sarcasm and tone in Jesus' voice? I love this man. So, it says, Why callest thou me good? There is none good save God himself. This is why the Trinity is such an interesting topic. Okay. Thou knowest the commandments. Do not commit adultery. Do not kill. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness. Honor thy father and thy mother. And the ruler, he said, All these I have kept up from my youth. And now when Jesus heard these things, he said unto him, I don't like how I said that. And he said, All these things I have kept up till my youth. Like, he's done all these things since he was a kid, the ruler said. Now when Jesus heard these things, he said unto him, Yet thou lackest one thing. And nobody likes to be told they're lacking. And I feel like this conversation is so Virgo, so Pisces. Now when Jesus heard these things, he said unto him, Yet thou lackest one thing. Sell all thou hast, and distribute it unto the poor. Thou shalt have treasure in heaven. Come follow me. Sacrifice, acts of service, diving into faith, a greater good, the unknown. This is the Pisces Virgo axis. And when he heard this, he was very sorrowful. I mean, this struck that kid, that young ruler, right there. He was very sorrowful, for he was very rich. And when Jesus saw that he was very sorrowful, he said, How hardly shall they that have riches in... I gotta say that again because there was a contraction. How hardly shall that have riches enter the kingdom of heaven. I hate that, how that sentence was formed. Okay, I'm going to do it again. How hardly shall they that have riches enter into the kingdom of God? For it is easier for a camel to go through the needle's eye than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. Why should I have to give up everything I own? Why should I have to go to the old folks' home and just listen to people talk for a minute because they're lonely? Why should I have to pick up trash on the street? Why should I have to take that lost dog back to its house? Why should I do anything that doesn't ultimately benefit me for some reason? These are all things people say. Like, if it doesn't immediately, upfront, and visibly and tangibly benefit me, why should I do it? I get caught in this loop. I get caught in this loop almost every Virgo season. Because it makes me feel all the insecurities in my fourth house. All my root damage. Excuse me. This wildfire bullshit has my lungs all gunked up. Not gungs, all gunked up. Whatever the fuck I was gonna say. Alright, so there's a lot of my loved ones happen to have Virgo, Chiron. So I think all y'all are feeling it too. Because this is a particularly difficult, rough angle with Neptune and Saturn on this axis. And, you know, do you remember, I believe it was 2016? 2017? We had the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo, and now it's flipped because that's how it works. So we've dealt with this axis not that long ago. Do you remember what your life was like? I was getting a divorce. I had started making content in 2015, late 2015. I started being of service for free. I hadn't charged anything. I started charging because I had a lot of people coming to me at the time, and I was running out of time and focus. The more money, equal energy exchange I've incorporated into my work, the more focus I ultimately can give you, because I'm ADHD. And I will multitask if I'm not devoted to you in the moment. Fun fact. You're paying for my attention and time. I share a lot of things for free. But anyways, I do that because being of service is the point. And sometimes I get frustrated because my content isn't getting viewed. Like, the message doesn't feel like it's getting out there. And I don't know if people are receiving it. I don't know if I'm actually on point in doing the work. It's like a blind faith element. This is very Virgo Pisces. Active service, into the void, and blind faith. So, going back to the story. It's easier for a camel to go through a needle's eye than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And they that heard it said, who then can be saved? And he said, which he being Jesus, the things that which are impossible with men are possible with God. This is going into what Pisces is to the peace dealer, which is fish-hearted. Okay, you have to get to Lulu with your faith and just really get into the service and sacrifice all preconceived notions. And then Peter said, lo, we have left all and followed thee. And Jesus said unto them, verily I say unto you, there is no man that has left his house, or his parents, or his brethren, or his wife, or his children, for the kingdom of God's sake, who shall not receive manifold more in this present time, and in the world to come, life everlasting. So, you'll taste this now and later, should you pass through the eye of this needle, and give up and sacrifice what you're being called to let go of. And that's going to be private for everybody. It's going to be specific to you. Your pains are going to be very specific to you. I had a beautiful emotional day yesterday. Thank you, Mars and Cancer. It was my uncle's birthday yesterday. And I had a little vigil for him. I did a spiritual bath. I lit a candle. I gave him a piece of birthday cake. A glass of water. He's passed over. He died when he was 26 years old. mysteriously and tragically, and it left a giant gap in my mother's psyche and in my family as a whole. Nobody was truly happy in my home, my grandparents or my mother. He disappeared between the birth of my sister. He held her, disappeared, and they found his body when I was 2 months old. So that's been the earliest impressions of my life on this earth, is being coupled with grief. And so I've always wanted to perform and be entertaining and take people's minds off of this pain. But there are limitations to that kind of entertainment that one can provide. And that is what Saturn, in a way, is here to teach me when it comes to my views. I'm not necessarily doing the wrong thing by showing up every day and giving things for free and sacrificing. But the gratification is delayed, and it's that way for a purpose, because you have to go on faith and act on it. It's like the Hermit card and the Hangman card. The Hangman is upside down. His story is, it's Odin sacrificing his eye and his perspective being upside down. His whole half of his sight, giving that up, half of his perspective, and also being upside down in order to gain the runes, a new spiritual language. That's the Hangman. And then, Virgo, representing the Hermit card, is withdrawing from society in order to gain enlightenment, be able to contain your Merkaba energy in such a way that it sheds light for other people to come to their own awareness. Stepping back, giving people space, allowing them, my stomach is growling, allowing them enough energy, slack in the cord of connection to rise back up on their own. I don't know why I'm burping. I said rise back up on their own, and then I burped. So maybe I'm releasing energy in this field. Thank goodness. That's part of what my spiritual bath was. I could feel myself. I was feeling beautiful yesterday. I was feeling so whole, and it didn't change. But I was feeling aligned in the early day. And then in the evening, I felt aligned with my vigil that I did for my uncle. So I went through a grieving process. And that was beautiful too. I needed those tears. I was weeping, deep weeping, because it really just hit me how young 26 is, being, almost about to turn 40. He could have done so much in this world. At that time, he was working as a hospital orderly, and he was taking classes. I have found his old paperwork. His cabin where he was living on my family's, next to my grandparents' house. His things were frozen in time. Nobody moved his stuff. His clock was set for 4:10 in the afternoon to go off so that he had enough time to roll a joint for 4:20. I guess it was like, I don't know. That was my uncle, and he died in the 80s. I have some beautiful treasures from him, like a gorgeous Jimi Hendrix painting. But I found all his old paperwork, and he was in the middle of taking real estate classes. And my family could have really used his knowledge. My family could have really used his Virgo energy. He was a Aries moon Virgo sun, and my mother's an Aquarius. I believe she might have a Virgo moon or a Leo moon. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know her time of day. I'm the only person with any Aries energy in the family besides him. With that Aries moon, and I feel like I would have had a much more established voice. A little bit a different confidence in him than I would have had otherwise. And I've dreamt about him a lot. He had really curly hair. My hair is not curly compared to his hair. My mom used to say his hair was nappy. Her words, not mine. But evidently his hair was very, 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 very curly. So everybody always said just glowing things about him, how he was so helpful with people. He would drop things at the drop of a hat to help you because he cared about being a humanitarian. And people like that are rare. But a lot of times, you know, we have our addictions. We get into things we shouldn't be into. Isn't that right? That's part of this Pisces axis. Is self-undoing in the process of giving yourself over. Like there's a positive aspect to that and a shadow aspect to that. You can give yourself over to oblivion, or you can give yourself over to spiritual void and wholeness, but at the same time you have to have a link of separation between all that in order to have stay in your body, more or less. It's a tricky axis to dance on. The eye of the needle, it is. By the grace of God, I will be pure and kind and true. I will keep the morning watch. I will keep a level eye. I will walk softly in the sanctuary. Keep a song in my heart. Be a friend to God. To be a servant to God and a friend to man. All those things. All those things. I took that deep into my consciousness. I loved that more than Sabbath school and church. Let it be so, you know? Whatever form it takes. I know this is a very long, video, and I haven't made a long one like this, just sitting here and talking, so maybe somebody needed this today. Maybe somebody's feeling the pull of cutting cords, or I don't fucking know. You know you need to do something, turn around and be kind in some type of way. You're feeling maybe guilty or hurt or empty inside because you haven't turned around and done something in faith. There was a time when I lost all sense of God and my awareness of Him. What ages was I? It was right before I turned 27. So it was a little bit before my Saturn return. I lost faith in God, and I was very agnostic and dark inside, and I was drinking a lot. My grandparents had died, and it occurred to me that if nothing is new under the sun and everything's a copy of a copy, if there's no originality, then how can there be a God? That was my whole thing. And then I met somebody who I'm no longer friends with that I could debate with. Another Aries. And we talked about death in life and purpose in a way that I still treasure to this day, although our friendship fell apart. And it brought me back to out of the void into the fact that spirit is intangible. And there is originality. There is a uniqueness inbred in life. But you have to look for it. You have to look for it to see it. Red truck. The red truck theory is, you're never really going to see a red truck until you're looking for a red truck. More or less, to sum it up. It's the eye of the needle. You're not really going to receive blessings that from God in a greater capacity than you could ever imagine if you're constantly grasping and holding on and trying to control things and trying to hoard things on this earth, or not giving of your gifts. You're trading your talents, making videos, sharing your essence of you, and you're wrapped up in things like addiction or God knows what. And you're wasting your time. Like, maybe you're playing video games in an alternate universe, like, most of the time. I doubt if you're a video game watcher, you have the focus to watch me by now. You're probably not making it to this if you're a steady gamer now. But this message is really important. There's things that we're having to give up. I made a cute little funny video, haha, about this full moon in Pisces and how, you know, this girl saying, "Oh, you look so cute," and she's trying to video her friend, and then she falls off a pier. We gotta watch where our feet are going with Pisces. We gotta pay attention to where our body is going, our intentions, analyze ourselves, analyze the ground we're walking on. It's an earth sign, Virgo. Analyze the ground you're walking on. Make sure you're on steady ground. And what is that steady ground? It might be spiritual and it might not make sense to somebody else. You know, it's the walk of faith. But you got to keep an eye on what your feet are doing while you're looking up. You have to be conscious and present in the moment with what you're exchanging and what you're giving away. And be true with it. Pure, kind, true. People are not prepared. In another verse in Luke, it's talking about people want to be in service to God, but they don't sit back and calculate the cost. It's the same, and it goes through metaphors. It's the same as a king trying to go to war without assessing if he has enough men and enough supplies and enough weapons to do the battle. It's just like rushing into battle and having 12 men against 50. Why would you do that? Same thing with being a servant in this axis. We really need to go into this moon with awareness, deep awareness about why it is you're doing. I don't know why I'm feeling like this. Why it is you're doing what you're doing. It's serious. I feel so convicted. I don't know what's coming around the corner, but when I get this serious about an energy, I know things aren't going to be the same. And Neptune, I believe, let me look. I believe Neptune's at 29. It's either that or Saturn's at 29. No, sir. My eyes are all foggy. It's Neptune. Neptune, close to 29 degrees. It's an erratic degree. That's a lot of things compiling. And, you know, Pisces in and of itself is like everything about all the other signs. And then you're at the 29th degree. The 29th degree of any sign is the distillation of the entire sign and everything that all those degrees stand for. So this is a high pressure keg in the arena of the depths of Pisces. You could get lost. That's why I'm crying. Some people are going to get lost. I think that's why I'm sitting here talking like this. There's people that aren't going to make it past this moon. We have to be comfortable with letting things go. We have to sit with this energy. So, we'll be pulling emoji cards for it. Okay. I think I pretty much said all I needed to say. Is there anything else I need to say? No. Well, I'll say this. I'll announce this. Gemini Brown has a channel. Go look him up. He recently used a clip from one of my videos in one of his videos, and occasionally he'll do this, but besides from him using my clips, his channel is really interesting. He makes good astrology delineation, so go to his channel and check it out. I'll try to get a screen grab and post this afternoon. I have a few things to do, but I will do my best to make sure that happens if you're interested. I love collabs, and I'm looking forward to doing more, as I keep saying. Okay, anyway. If you want a reading, I'm available. This moon's going to be really, really hard. In some psychic sense. It's going to be challenging spiritually, emotionally. I'm here for you. If you need me. Okay. If not, you know I'm just going to be here the next day anyway, so I'll see you then. Alright. Bye for now. Don't forget, unconditional love is the only way to move. Okay. Take care of each other. I love you. And yourselves. Take care of yourselves first and then each other.